Bro, you can just put the crafting table. Press the crafting
I don't know,
table.
but this is more fun.
Yeah. Put 2 on this here string. No, a string there. A string on those 2.
Oh.
And then there, and then the stick here. Another stick here, and take that one off.
Oh, I see.
It makes
That
sense, you know?
Yeah, it does actually make sense. I've got a fishing boat as well.
Bro, I think that would be like the most boring Minecraft episode.
You guys aren't here for the Minecraft, are you? You're here to hear about the Bible. Welcome to Faith. I'm McCoy Young.
And I'm Samuel Rivera.
And today we are going to be resuming after a little bit of a hiatus. We had a midterm to work on, and honestly, we've been lazy, and our schedule hasn't lined up. So today we are going to be talking through fasting and money in the Sermon on the Mount. And Samuel, I'm assuming you always have good thoughts to start us off, so why don't you...
Oof, bro, I almost killed my cow, bro. I literally almost killed the cow. So, last episode, we spent all episode through trying to get a cow. And I spent another 40 minutes after that. As I was listening to some audiobooks trying to find another cow. And I brought it back, so that's an update on that. Anyway, apart from that, on this chapter, how will we read it first?
That's a good point. I totally forgot about actually reading the text. It says, and when you fast... Oh my gosh, I just missed my... Oh, hey, I got it. I got a fish.
Nice. Fishy business. Wow.
Starting in verse 16 and we're ending in verse 24 today. And when you fast, do not look gloomy like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces that their fasting may be seen by others. Truly I say to you, they have received their reward. But when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, that your fasting may not be seen by others, but by your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The eye is the lamp of the body. So if your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? No one can serve 2 masters, for he will either hate the one or love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. Alright, I need to get home. I actually caught a fish. I was about to cast my net on the other side of the boat.
Yeah. Did you catch any fish?
I caught one, yeah.
Nice. That's called the second puffer fish, which I don't know if they are of any value.
You caught a puffer fish?
Yeah,
you should eat it. Eat it.
No,
or give
bro.
it to me. Can you give it to me so I can eat it? I want to eat it. It's funny. Can you let me try it?
No.
Dude, come on, bro.
No.
Give me.
No, bro. You need to do... Oh, no. This is actually a good representation of what this passage is. You know? I'm going to give you this puffer fish. You're going to eat it. Where are you? Bro, I'm at your entrance to your house.
Wait, where did I go?
I don't know. You literally went the other way. Or if you eat the puffer fish. No. You're gonna...
Whoa!
You're like nauseous
Yeah.
and sick.
Dude, I'm about to get nauseous in real life.
Bro, that's wild. So the way that this connects to the passage at hand is like the Pharisees here wanted to be seen in their sickness and like make themselves even look more sick than they actually are, so that people, when they saw them, were like, oh, he's such a godly man, you know, he loves God more than he loves health, so he is purposely, you know, not eating and fasting, and just like they made themselves look even worse than they were actually, so that other people would see them, and that's a little wild. That's so crazy, man.
Yeah. Didn't I look gloomy there, guys? Like, didn't you see how
Yeah.
how bad I was feeling? Just got a little bit of food poisoning, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It passed. It almost killed me. I was sick. Indeed, I was so sick I nearly died, but the Lord had mercy on me, lest I should have sorrow upon sorrow.
Yeah. That my example there was a terrible example, but it's also like a ridiculous thing that people did,
Yeah.
make themselves look even worse than they actually are, so that other people might see their godliness. Like that's the definition of hypocrisy.
Yep.
And
I would like to, apply this. You think that's ridiculous. You would think. But, as a worship leader, I think about this all the time. About how if I'm feigning being really impacted by the words that I'm singing, or if I'm actually really impacted by them, or even worse, if I'm trying really hard to get people to see my talent instead of getting people to see the glory of God. Something that we're constantly aware of as worship leaders, hopefully. And if you're not, then I don't think that you're doing things correctly. Now, this I think relates really well to this passage about fasting, in that it seems kind of ridiculous. Like, why would you ever do that? Like, make your fasting so obvious. It seems kind of ridiculous, but we do the same thing oftentimes when we make our devotion to God so evident in a way that's not to push others to be more devoted, but it's instead to get people to see how devout we are and how holy we are. And that's not good, obviously. That is, the root in here is pride, and it kind of follows the same pattern that we've been seeing throughout this section, is that Jesus is, he is, I think, rebuking actions, yes, but I think more so he's rebuking an attitude. That it's not wrong to tell someone you're fasting. Like, let's say, like, you're having a lunch after church one day, and they're like, "Hey, you gonna get something?" And you're like, "No, I'm fasting." Like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that, obviously. But if you're purposefully making your fast obvious, like putting it on Instagram or something like that, like, "Hey guys, 4th day of the fast," it's like, that's not healthy. That demonstrates there's pride underneath,
and especially, like, I think especially if you like even to make them more extreme, like if you're like, "Hey guys, 4 days of the fast is super hard, but I'm doing it because I love God,"
Yeah.
It's like we can show our love to God without that, because at the end of the day, the reason that we're fasting is to love God more, to ask Him for something specific, to thank Him for something specific, or like to just learn how our desire for God should be more than our desire for food, and that's the reason for our fast is for our personal relationship to God to grow, and like, if your purpose for fasting is different, then that should that's not a good purpose, and that's not a purpose that will help you in the long run.
Yeah, there's a lot of, not so much with fasting today, because I think that Jesus' words have had an impact on our culture, that people try to be private about their fasting, or they don't disfigure their faces, as Jesus says here. But there is a lot of this. What is that? What did I just get? Oh, just a water bottle? What? How do I get a water bottle from the sea.
Bro, are you actually fishing, bro?
Yeah.
Bro, I
So
think
it's-
we should make like an enchanting room now that we have the cows and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could make it. We could put it down in my basement.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something
that's
to
a
put down
good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys. I know you guys have been really enjoying watching me fish.
Yeah, right, like, bro. What in the world? What quality content is that, bro?
I mean, like, dude, fishing in real life is like my favorite thing that I never do because I don't have a fishing rod or any place to fish. But every time I do fish, I'm like, dude, I love this. It's such a peaceful thing.
Oh, bro, you have 12 leather, so we could make some boots from your stuff.
Yeah. And so there's not just a discussion of fasting here in Matthew 6. And this kind of finishes off this trifold thing where Jesus is telling us not to be public and prideful about our prayer, about our giving, and then about our fasting. And of course, sandwiched in there is what we talked about last time, which was the Lord's Prayer. Dude, how do I keep losing my way? Seriously, there we are. So in this next section, I think he gives the reason why we should be careful about how we fast, we pray, and how we give. And it's because we should be we should have a heavenward focus, focusing on what is to come and not what is present here. Because what is present here is fading away, like he says there. And again, this is another example of Jesus' teaching being just so logical. It just makes sense. Like,
Bro, I put there on the first chest, on there, all the paper there.
okay,
And
leather as well.
yeah.
But, like, isn't this so logical here? He says, don't lay up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. Like, you go and you collect, and back in the day, I'm sure they were very invested in buying physical currency, physical gold, which rust eventually destroys and eventually fades away, and fine clothing with moth, which moths obviously end up eating through. And so Jesus says, why would you build up your treasures for things that can get lost, that can decay? Why would you not be building up for things that are eternal? Why would you not be laying up treasures in heaven? And it just makes perfect sense, but yet we still fall short of doing this exact thing.
No, it's such a logical passage, but it's so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so for like for the enchanting table, I think if we put it here,
Mm-hmm.
then we can put like books over
Yeah.
here, like the bookshelves around here.
How do you make a bookshelf? You can just, why don't you make it? Why don't you do it?
Wow.
I'll put the paper and the leather in there.
Right. No, and the reason why we want to do all of this, I need some wood. I'm gonna get a wood.
Like get the diamonds and obsidian. Do we have obsidian? I think I did. I think I got obsidian.
Yeah, I think so.
remember doing that.
But the reason that we do all of this is that where our treasure is, there will our mind be also. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like our heart will be there also. So that's the grounds for why we want to make a heavenly treasure. You know, so our hearts are ordered appropriately. You know, if our hearts are pointed to heaven and our eternal reward and eternal life with God, then the rest of ourselves will be also well, you know. But if our heart is pointing to the earth and to wealth, then we will be moved by everything in this world. You know, what happens if our hopes are in the stock market and it crashes? You know, then we will be destroyed. We won't have any basis for peace or for tranquility. But if our hearts are pointed to God and His faithfulness and His love to us, then we will not be moved. We will be like a house built on the rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the main reason why we want to be careful to not build a treasure, to treasure our relationship with God more than we treasure or value all the money that we have placed in the stock market, right?
Right.
And I think that's the reason that we have to be careful. And we have to be careful because it's so easy. It's so easy to put all your trust in the stock market, and because we work for that all day long,
Yeah, you invest a lot of your money.
Yeah, time and money.
And I'm a big American history guy, and you hear stories about Black Tuesday coming up on 100 years now. In in a week, I think it'll be 96 years since Black Tuesday. And you hear these stories of people like literally killing themselves because they had lost all of their livelihood from the stock market. They obviously had something very similar when Samuel and I were very young. In 2008, there was a stock market crash. And in 2020, obviously, with the COVID-19 pandemic, everything shut down and the economy slowed down. And people who had put their hope in the stock market, all of their hopes and dreams were crushed because... Can I have some of that paper, by the way? We need to make books. Or a book. Just a single book. And so all their hope was in things that
Do
perish.
you have leather? I have an extra book here.
Okay. I need one piece of... Okay.
Yeah.
But it's a really interesting example of how, in the modern time, of how people are putting their hope in things that perish. And that can be many things as well. I mean, it can be you're putting your hope in your own body to be able to sustain itself. People that spend their whole lives trying to eat right and exercise and do everything that they can possibly to obtain good health. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Obviously, it is a very good thing to look after your health. But everybody at some point is going to die. And anything can happen. I mean, it could be something that doesn't have anything to do with your health that takes you home. And so putting your hope in that is foolish, Jesus says here. And I think this is just great wisdom from Jesus. Clearly, this is... It's not difficult. Well, it's difficult in one sense. It's can you not go down when I'm going up?
Bro, where is the exit? Oh, okay. That's here.
I don't even remember what I was saying now. Okay, I've got a lapis.
Yeah. You were talking about how it's foolishness.
Yeah, it's not complicated what Jesus is saying here. It's just very hard to carry out in our daily lives because we honestly we love temporal things. And what it demonstrates is our lack of faith because we either are impatient in receiving those things that are going to come or we don't believe that they're actually going to come. Because if we were completely patient and we believed that they were actually going to happen, if Jesus is actually going to fulfill his promise here, then we would act in a way that was laying up treasures for ourselves in heaven. We've talked about this before because this is really, I think, Matthew 6, and Sammy, you might have something to say about this. This being at the center of the Sermon on the Mount really is very intentional from Jesus because the main point and much of what Jesus is saying is that it's not the things that are temporal that matter, it's the things that are eternal that matter. And so for that reason we should fast with a goal toward pleasing God, we should pray with a goal toward pleasing God, we should give with the goal of not being seen by others but for receiving a reward from Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. Everything in this world is just vanity, as Ecclesiastes says. It's not insignificant. It's not unimportant. It's just fleeting. You know, it's just, and the word there for vanity, we think of it as insignificant, but the word is just like wind, or like the word in Hebrew is hevel, and it means just like breath.
Yeah.
You know.
Kind of like in James 4, like,
Hmm.
you don't know what your life is, it's a vapor.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a vapor.
I think he clearly
Mhm.
needs to pull from that illustration from
Yeah,
Ecclesiastes there.
and I think it's, so we have to focus on like on pleasing God and doing all to the glory of God. And this doesn't mean that it's bad to work. I mean, we have to balance this with our understanding of the Christian work ethic, right? That is a good thing to work. It's a good thing to build things, to use our abilities that God has given to us. I mean, when God created humans, He told them to be fruitful and multiply and subdue the earth. I mean, we are given authority over the world so that we work the world and bring order to the world in the same way that God brought order to this world. That's why it means, in part, to be bearers of the image of God. And I think it's a really good thing to work. But the one that gave us the work was God, right?
Mhm.
And we are doing that to please God. The secondary benefits of work cannot be our main aim in life.
And in a lot of ways, I think that we act like children. Like we just want what we want right now, and we don't want to wait for the pleasure that is to come. But the more and more we pursue God, the more and more we will delight in Him, and the more we will see that His glory and what He has to offer is so much greater than anything that this world has to offer. And I think that's why it's super important for us to be constantly in our Word, constantly in prayer, to receive mercy and to experience God more fully, so that the things of this world would, as the hymn says, grow strangely dim in the light of His glory and grace. And I think that's really the main message of what Jesus is talking about here.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, yeah, it's just do it all for the glory of God, and that way you live a happy life. I mean, a flourishing life is not a life that's filled with riches and wealth and earthly value, but it's a life where you understand your relationship to work and to your God, who provides for you your work and also the means that you need to live, your daily bread, the clothes that you need, as we will read about. I think that's the key to fulfilled life, because anything else you can lose it in a second, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I work with people in a restaurant, I work with people from Cuba, you know, that had to escape because of communism, and they told me that when they used to be there in Cuba, they were doctors, accountants, and now they're dishwashers with me, you know.
Yeah.
And that's because they just lost their opportunity to work. And I'm not gonna pay if because if not, I will come now. No, they're waiting for their, visas now. But I feel like it's real. Like, some people just lose all ability to work. Or imagine if an accident happens and you lose something that you used to work. And I think that's, if we put our trust in that, we can lose it. God can take it away from us, you know. But if we put our trust in God, then nothing can separate us from the love of God, as Romans 8 say, right? Neither heights, nor depth, nor principalities, nor dominion, nor anything else that's made. And I skip like another 7 things there. But nothing in this world, nothing in creation can separate us from God, because God created creation itself. Right?
Yeah. And so, I think we should take this with us as the main theme of, or at least one of the main themes of the Sermon on the Mount. I'm not going to claim that it is the singular main theme, but you can't serve both God and money. You have to be completely devoted to God, or you have to be devoted to the world. And I would recommend that you choose to be devoted to God.
Yeah.
Because there are more pleasures at his right hand than anything that you could experience in this world. So put your hope in God. Put your time and your effort and everything that you have for him. And as we sleep, we will say farewell.
Farewell.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.